Hello, guys. Happy triumphant. It's not triumphant Tuesday. Forgive me. Happy Thursday. I'm I'm so used to saying certain things on certain days, right? You guys know that. Anyway, happy Thursday. Happy Friday Eve. Happy first week of April. I can't believe it's April. It's like the year. I don't know about you, but it's just flying by. Anyway, I am happy to be here. I hope you guys have had a good week. I'm here to talk to us a little bit tonight about something that is definitely, you bring attention to it, or more attention is brought to it during the month of April, because April has been designated as Stress Awareness Month. And this is something that I frequently talk about, particularly when I talk about taking care of yourself and the things that we need to do in order to be our best selves, personally and professionally. And one of the major things affecting us, not just women, but affecting men, affecting not any age specific generation, any age can experience some degree of stress. And with the way that society is now, stress is at really an all-time level high. And it's interesting because CNN just did an article today on stress, talking about how it shows up in our bodies and some of the things that we should know about stress, how hormones trigger a certain reaction in our bodies, and that creates the tendency, of course, for our hearts to beat faster, for our blood pressure to increase, for blood sugar levels to increase. And that alone is not always a bad thing, um, but it is bad when it gets to the point where it's at a prolonged level of that going on. So sometimes we may feel stressed. Some of us may feel stressed as we prepare for a big event, right before we go out on stage, perhaps, right before a basketball player goes out for that major game, the championship game, just anything that could create an adrenaline, preparing for an exam, and that adrenaline and that stress level is at an all-time high. This is going to be okay dealing with those types of things. But when we have that stress at an elevated level for a persistent amount of time, that is when it starts to do damage to us, both mentally and physically. So what I wanted to talk to us today about, basically I wanted to talk about the things that really kind of bring about those conditions for us, and some of the things that we can do to combat what we're feeling and that tendency to be at a stress level. Challenges are unique, and for that reason, what people feel with stress is unique, or what stresses people out is really unique as well. So there are 5 key points that I want to bring to our attention involving stress and really kind of understanding stress. And the first one is it's universal but individual. And that's what I just said. All of us feel stress, but how we feel it, what stresses us, how it impacts us is really an individual thing. It's something, of course, that, may even involve a certain age level, not because a certain age level may stress more, but because there may be certain things that may stress one age level that doesn't stress another. So it's very individual. So it's nothing, or it is something, again, that's felt by everyone. Now, there is a physical impact to it. Our bodies respond to stress in ways that can be harmful, which is something I just said as well. It can be harmful over time. If that stress level is at that same intensity for a period of time, then we start to feel it. And we definitely start to feel that stress or the effects of stress a little more as we age. And why is that? probably because we've been stressing at a younger age, right? And we continue to have that stress level impact our bodies. So over time, anything that is being beaten, as an example, or being worn out, or you consistently at a high level, then yeah, as you start to age, it is definitely going to take more effect on your bodies, right? What else? Emotional well-being. Stress doesn't just affect our bodies. I already mentioned that, but it affects, our minds, feelings of being overwhelmed. Okay, and we've all felt that at some point. Many of us may be feeling it right now, anxious or depressed. There were also recent statistics that indicate that depression is at an all-time high. And that started actually with those statistics going up right around COVID, people being isolated, the effects of COVID on the world has changed a whole lot. Although COVID is definitely well controlled, or much, is controlled much better now. However, we're still stressing about any number of things. And so for that reason, it is at an all-time high. The social effect. There's a social effect that relates to stress. Our relationships and our social lives, of course, can suffer the repercussions of stress. They can also bring about stress, right? How we handle things, disagreements, agreements, feeling isolated, trying to work through relationships, any number of things really do point to the social impact that stress can have. And the last thing I want to tell you about is, on a positive note, it's never too late to address stress. So don't let this whole age thing, we risers, don't let that in any way affect what we see, what we feel, how we feel that we can come out of our stressful situations. And learning to manage stress, of course, really helps us in managing, oops, sorry about that, my camera's falling off. There we go. Learning to handle stress, of course, is going to make us better mentally as well as physically. All right, so we've talked about some of the things that, can blossom, can bloom as a result of stress, and where we are right now and how society and stress is at an all-time high. Well, let's talk about some of the ways that we can combat that. And one, of course, is to prioritize your well-being. Frequently, we get at that elevated stress level for a persistent amount of time because we don't take the time to take care of ourselves, to bring ourselves down, to combat that high level that's already pounding on us. We don't take the time to take care of ourselves, invest in self-care. So that's one of the first things that you want to do to really get a hold of the stress levels. Of course, one of the other things you want to do is, if it is a situation that you can control, and let's face it, anything that affects us, we should have some control over it in some way. There are some things that are totally out of our control, but we should be able to control how we react to them. So if it is a situation where you can remove yourself from the stress, by all means, that's the first thing that you want to do. Look for alternative ways to get around going into a place that you know will bring you stress, to handle something that you know is going to trigger stress in you. So it's important to make sure that you're looking out for yourself, taking care of self-care, prioritizing your well-being. What else can you do to battle stress? Stay connected. Make sure that you establish and maintain strong relationships. People who are going to be able to help you to bring your stress levels down. People who are going to be positive in your life. You don't want negativity in your life. People who are going to encourage environments of peace around you. These are the kinds of relationships that you want to have. And you want to make sure that you stay connected with this tribe of yours that is going to be able to pull you into that peaceful environment, that peaceful place, and not in any way encourage confusion or anything else that may definitely pull you into a stressful situation. What else? What else? What else? I said to stay connected, get physical. Statistics have already proven how endorphins are released when you exercise. Endorphins that bring about joy, that bring about good feelings, that really do combat stressful situations. So maybe you want to go ahead and do something physical. You can do something like walking. You don't have to always do strenuous exercising. You can do something like walking or dancing, or just getting up and stretching, yoga, all kinds of things that you can do to get your body moving, get your heart rate up in a good way, and get those endorphins going as well. So a couple of out of the box things that you might want to think of: do a tech detox retreat. How many of us are tied to, tied to technology, tied to social media? Those things don't always bring about peace and happiness in our lives. Frequently may stress us out. Frequently, the fact that we can get to our emails at any time isn't always a good thing, is it? There are times when we really do need to unplug. You might consider something like detox retreat. You don't even have to go anywhere to do it. Dedicate a weekend at your house where the TVs are off, where your phones are down, where the computer is off, where you're doing nothing but perhaps reading, perhaps doing some praying, doing some journaling, doing some walking, doing some things other than what you ordinarily do with your devices in hand. All right? What else? Something else that's kind of out of the box. A creative expression workshop. Places like Paint This, places like create your own pottery, create your own candle, create your own bath gel. Those are the kinds of things that really do bring about creativity and really help to relieve that stress. You're doing something that is going to produce a product that you'll like. You're doing something that is going to take your mind away from those things that are the day-to-day stresses of life, and are really going to help you to actually spend more time on taking care of you and getting rid of and bringing that stress level down. So as we wrap things up here, it's kind of hard to avoid stress, isn't it? It's something that is going to affect us no matter what. However, there are ways, or the way in which we handle the stressful situation is really going to determine how it affects us mentally and physically. And the very last thing that I want to bring up is make sure that if help is needed, that you seek help. Get over the whole negative stamina that's around seeking help from therapists, seeking help from coaches. These are the people who are going to help you to be able to navigate those roads that bring stress into your life, show you how to manage them, and help you to get to a good place mentally and physically so that you can manage them and that things will not get totally out of hand for you, either mentally or physically. So if the need is there to seek help, I encourage you to do just that. You are prioritizing you above all else and making sure that you're well, making sure that you're well for you, making sure that you're well for the others around you, making sure that you are in a position to live life to its fullest. And one that I always say, that you are not merely surviving, but one in which you are thriving. So yes, stress is with us. There are some things that you can do to manage them, some things that you can do that are going to help you to live life in a better place. All right. That's it. Thank you guys so much for listening, for tuning in. Again, it's Thursday. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of the week, that you have a great weekend, that you spend some time detoxing. I highly recommend that. Put down the technology, Don't work on something for a few hours at least. For some, it's just almost impossible to do it for an entire weekend. Start small. Do a couple hours. Do a quiet morning. Do a self-care kind of morning. Put some tea in your journal or whatever your favorite beverage is. Take some time to make sure that you are in a good space. Get away from the hurried life that this world is presenting and spend some quiet time in a space for you, for your peace of mind, and for your overall health. Have a great weekend. Make sure that you go out and be you. Go out and work on some things that you can touch with your imprint that is so unique and so special, that you can make a difference for yourself, that you can make a difference for the other people around you, that you can make this hurried world a better place to be. All right? Thanks again and have a great evening.